be modest. Doesn't matter what you have. You may have nothing, but what you need to look like is you look like you have everything in the world, like you got your shit together and you just are happy about it. Open-minded. Okay, here we go. Ralph Waldo Emerson wrote, "Never let me fall into a vulgar mistake of dreaming that I was persecuted whenever I am contradicted." This quote perfectly captures one of the most vital interests or traits of a confident man, his open-mindedness. There's so many things about open-mindedness that I could go into, and I have another 11 to go through, and we've been at this for 15 minutes. So open-mindedness, I think you already know what that is, don't you? You know what open-mindedness is, and if you don't, well, it's basically the ability to listen to someone else's point of view, take it into consideration, and either agree with them or shut your mouth. It's pretty much what it is. Alluring, assertive. Yeah, well, I don't even need to read this. I'm going to tell you about this. Assertiveness is someone who can make a move without aggression. So it's basically you reach out and hold her hand. You're being assertive. That's confident. I'm really surprised that I don't see this all the time from these kinds of articles from women about men and what men do that is right or wrong, is that these days the only way that people communicate is by text, and text messaging is so incredibly impersonal. Now, I know that in the past we used telephones. I mean, I grew up with a rotary phone, and then we finally got push-button phones, and then we got cordless phones, and then we got these things called cell phones, and the cell phones went to something called a smartphone, and now I don't even know what these phones are anymore. They're so much smarter than we are. I mean, it knows everything that I do. It's basically sitting here recording me. This isn't recording. I mean, I'm recording on a laptop, but it knows everything that's going on. I go to Facebook or something like that. This is an aside. I'm sorry, I'm off the track. But I go to Facebook or something like that after I've been talking to my wife about, I don't know, I talked to her about a pair of shoes. Next thing I know, Facebook is showing me shoes. This phone, my computer, everything in the house knows everything that I do. So, except for the person that I really want to talk to doesn't know what I want to do. Like, she's in the other room with the door closed. She has no idea what I'm talking about. And at least she's in the same house, but I'm talking to you about you trying to get to know somebody so that you can eventually be into the same house, right? Well, one of the things that is so very important today is traditional dating. Girls find that guys just want to hang out with them, and by hanging out, they mean just, going someplace and nobody's spending any money on the other person. And what they end up doing is, eventually they hook up, and, it's so cheap and tawdry. And the girls these days would like for a guy to be a gentleman, take them out to dinner, to a date, to a restaurant, something romantic, something nice, and it just doesn't happen. And I think a lot of the thing is that most of these men, these young men, these boys, have no confidence in what they're doing. They haven't been trained to do these things the right way, and so they don't. And I think that what's missing in school, high school, probably even grade school, is how to have a relationship with your neighbor, with your parents, with the opposite sex, with each other. That's completely missing, and it drives me crazy how it's missing. And because my son, he keeps meeting all these perfect girls for him. I don't know if they're perfect or not. They're young girls. They're cute or pretty. They have good personalities, and he shows some interest in them. They show some interest in him. He has very little confidence, and it goes nowhere. absolutely nowhere. He's not assertive. We're getting back to assertive. He's not assertive. He will not take charge of the situation. That's what they want. Women want a man that will take charge of the situation without being an asshole. That's all there is to it. Okay, and then she moves on to all ears for you, which she's basically saying that a confident man will allow a person to speak. They'll listen to what the person has to say before they speak. They'll listen, think, and then speak. And one of the most important things in a relationship, in dating, I think, is giving the woman an opportunity, for guys this is, guys, give the woman an opportunity to finish her sentence. How hard is that? Not only let her finish her sentence, but wait to see if she's actually finished with the sentence. It's amazing how few people do that. How few people sit there and wait to make sure that somebody's finished so that you get complete clarity. Listen, listen, listen. It's better to be a good listener than anything else, I think. Presentation is perfect. Well, my son wears a shirt from the place he works at. It's greasy, and the pants he wears when he comes home are greasy. And sometimes he works on a car, and he gets the car greasy. And his presentation is a little less than perfect. Sometimes he doesn't comb his hair. He's 20 years old. Sometimes he doesn't comb his hair. Sometimes he wears a hat. And he just doesn't seem to be interested in what other people think of him. And so therein lies the issue, is that you have to think about what somebody else might think of you. It doesn't mean that you have to wear a three-piece suit all the time. Nobody wears a three-piece suit anymore. It's two-pieced. But she says don't wear wrinkled clothes, and he should have a well-groomed facial hair, trimmed fingernail, clean breath, and fresh clothes on. I don't know about fresh clothes on because, I mean, after all, when you meet somebody by chance, you have to look your best. My mom always told me that I needed to make sure that if I go out in public, that I don't look shabby, that I look like somebody who has their shit together, you know? Wear a clean shirt that doesn't have stains on it, doesn't have any rips in it. Wear jeans or pants or shorts that aren't ripped and stained and dirty. You want to look like the part of a well-dressed, confident man. I don't know why this is so hard. I don't. Self-aware like a pro. This is one of the most remarkable traits of a confident man. A Guitarsh rightly explains, I think confidence. Oh, Guitarsh. I don't know who's Guitarsh. I don't know. You might know. I think confidence entails self-awareness because confidence comes from the acceptance, and acceptance in turn stems from being conscious. Your self-concept and actually are not far removed from each other. Oh, your self-concept and actuality are not far removed from each other. You aren't low on self-esteem, and you aren't a narcissist either. An objective view of self is very rare and wonderful quality to possess. So, I've been told by a lot of women that I'm very confident in the way that I am. I mean, I don't even know why they think that I'm confident. I wear clean clothes, yes. If I go on a date, I wear a collared shirt. I don't wear a T-shirt. If I'm going on a first date with somebody, oftentimes I would wear a sport coat. I would wear clean pants, clean shoes. I would not look like I didn't care. I look like I care to make the best possible first impression I could. Okay? So you come across as someone who can take care of themselves. That's all there is to it. Okay, next. How do you describe a confident man? He's not like Cinderella, huh? What I mean to say is he's kind to everyone. When we describe a confident man, we often leave out the two-pronged tool of kindness. Huh? Why? What does that have to do with Cinderella? I get it. That there's like only one. Maybe it's like a unicorn, and being kind is kind of like being a unicorn. Oftentimes I see the way that guys will rib each other back and forth, and they make fun of each other, and they try to one up each other, and the person who has the most cutting and biting statement is the guy who wins, but he actually loses, because when the women look at that and they're watching these guys in this interaction, because oftentimes they don't want to be around the guy that has the most cutting, the meanest statement that he could say about the other guys around. Being kind, to me, is incredibly simple. I mean, it really is. It's just being aware of what other people need, being sensitive, and taking care of situations. It could be as simple as you're walking along and the girl that you're with drops something on the ground, and you reach down and you pick it up for her so that she doesn't have to. That's being a gentleman. That's being someone who's kind. It's being someone, I don't know how that matches with confidence. It's more like being a gentleman. Draws boundaries, not just for himself, but for others too. He's highly attractive. A highly attractive quality in a man is how he stands up for himself and others. This means he will not, under any circumstance, tolerate bullying. This is a generational thing. Okay, when I was growing up, we had bullies in just like today, and bullies were just discounted. If somebody was a bully, you just didn't deal with them. No one dealt with a bully, and the bully eventually realized that nobody likes him because he's a bully, and he changed his behavior, and he was no longer a bully. He grew out of that bullyingness. Okay, when a bully basically is trying to prove that he's better than somebody else, and confidence, too much confidence, will make you appear to be a bully. A narcissist is typically a bully. If you think you're better than somebody else, verbally you can be a bully without ever reaching your hand up and smacking somebody. But I don't know what this has to do with relationship boundaries, but here she says, here comes the junction where I introduce the third and final confident man I know, my colleague Ray. This quality instantly brings Ray to mind because of an incident that took place in July. An intern at our workplace had been looking progressively worse over the course of a few weeks. Despite repeatedly asking him what was wrong, he brushed off our questions. We let it go until he started consecutive leaves. Astonished by his absenteeism, Ray had a sit down with the intern. He found out that a few men had been verbally abusing him. See, there you go. For his ethnicity. Ray personally handled the situation in a manner where no one harassed the boy again to date. Okay, that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about guys will tend to pick on other guys to make them feel better. And nothing is further from the truth. You cannot possibly feel better when you berate somebody. You're being mean and obnoxious. Stop it. Just don't do it. Be the opposite of that. Stand up to people who are mean and obnoxious and tell them you're being mean and obnoxious. Quit it. He's a work in progress, okay? Learning is endless, and there's always a new skill to be learned. That's kind of nice. I don't know what this has to do with confidence. All they're basically talking to you about are these are the things that a woman wants in a guy. This particular woman wants these things in a guy. She believes that these are the things that she